I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Peter Fritz. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Well, I'm going really well, and it's actually a lovely morning here in Australia.
Yeah.
In fact, we've had our first taste of warm weather here, which has been long overdue because if you know anything about Melbourne, we get 4 seasons in one day regularly.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So I've been speaking with the other side of the world, and the fall is now about to come in for them, right? And then on your side, it's summer. It's always intriguing, right?
Yeah, it's weird. I'm on Instagram a fair bit and looking at photos of other people's, change of season on the other side of the world. We're always at polar opposites.
Yeah. Sometimes us as humans are a lot like that as well, right?
Yeah, true.
Well, Peter, please do tell me, which of your talents is responsible for us meeting?
Well, it would appear that it's podcasting.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. Given that I've only been doing this for a short time, I was quite surprised.
Yeah, well, you're almost on your 12th episode, which is like, we love 12 here, right? So it's like, welcome. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I just interviewed a fellow who specializes in hooking up guests with podcasters, and he said that most of them quit before they get to the 10th. So it was kind of ironic that my 12th podcast episode was an interview with him, and I've just broken the magic 10.
And there we go. Well, congratulations, Peter, and welcome to the podcasting family. It's a great pleasure to have a conversation with you. What you're bringing. So let me not let the cat out of the bag. So yeah, tell us about what you've done thus far on your podcast and what you intend to achieve. Well,
the podcast is targeted primarily at people in my age group. I'm 49, so pretty much anyone in their 40s, 50s, or 60s. And the main purpose of the podcast is to support the website Midlife Tribe, which is there to, I guess, promote the message that being in this age group is one of the best phases in life, and this is the best time in history to be in this age group because there are just so many opportunities to draw on your wisdom and your experience and all your mistakes and actually go on to do something that you really love thanks to technology. Yeah. So that is the core message that I want to push with the Midlife Mastery podcast.
That's great. It's great that you decided to do a podcast and connect it to what you're doing already. I'm really glad you did that because your voice can only be fine-tuned and your audience as well. Who did you learn the skill from? Not so much the podcasting, but the skill of integrating your business into other aspects.
Well, I've been an avid podcast listener for about 2 years. It's only a recent discovery for me. But I've been writing since I was a kid, and I was first published when I was 16. So working around media has been something that's been a natural thing for me since I was young. I wrote, I photographed, I used to like shooting video, that sort of stuff. So I guess it's been in me for a long time. And my recent interest in podcasts is, and my 14-year-old daughter's success on YouTube as a makeup artist, all of that stuff conspired to lead me to doing something like this. I didn't really want my ugly head on video, so I thought, well, I got a good face for radio, and radio is not easy to get on, so I got the perfect face for podcasting.
Oh, Peter, be gentle on yourself. Well, tell me why you will continue. You've started it, you've passed the first 10, right? Why will you continue now that you've definitely gotten your feet wet?
Well, I reckon this is one of the best ways to connect with people because the beauty of podcasting is people don't have to stop what they're doing to consume it. And, like I said, my daughter's quite big on YouTube now, and she does a brilliant job of that. But for somebody to sit down for half an hour and watch a video in my age group is bloody hard because we're all working our butts off, and if we're not working, then we're looking after family and kids and other responsibilities. So it's very hard to take that amount of time out to either read something or to watch something. So podcasting is brilliant because you can do it while you're driving or jogging or doing a workout, whatever. So I reckon it's one of the best ways to connect with people in a way that writing and video can't. So, I enjoy it. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm here for at least a few years, and I kind of suspect I'll be doing this as long as I'll be writing, which I expect I'll be doing till I croak.
Wow. I love that. I love that. And I believe it as well. Now tell us about what you're doing at Midlife Tribe, please.
Well, Midlife Tribe, predominantly I share real life stories of my own failures and successes. I've had a lot more failures and successes, so I've got a lot of good content to draw on from there. But the three primary things I focus on with Midlife Tribe is teaching people in my age group how to master their time, their money, and their life. And by their life, I mean their work-life balance and their appreciation of this particular phase of their life. So I've had plenty of failures when it comes to money. I've been broke a couple of times. I've made a lot of money. I've had 3 marriages. I'm on my 3rd, and ironically, 3's been my lucky number since I was a kid. So I've got 3 kids. Had 3 wives.
He's connected.
I've probably been broke 3 times. If I think about it, I think I've been broke 3 times. So, it's I want to share where I screwed up and help people to avoid it themselves. And plus, I went through a typical midlife crisis, and I'd like to help people avoid theirs if I can.
That's intriguing. I love what you're doing, my friend. I love the fact that you jumped on the podcast. Well, the last episode you released, which is the one I listened to, you're there. You're speaking. It's only Peter, and you did that extremely well. I really look forward to see what you will be in the next 3 years, which is a fine tuning of your voice. Yeah, I do look forward to that. Tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
Well, I think the thing I've done throughout most of my life is work on side projects. I started my entrepreneurial journey when I was about 8. I started making things and selling them to neighbours. And when I started working part-time as a 14-year-old, I had other projects on the side. I took photos of houses and sold them to real estate agents. I collected golf balls at the local course and sold them to the pro shop. I was always making things and selling things and devising ways to, build my own little empire. So I think if there's one thing I've done consistently throughout my whole life, not just the last few years, is I've always had a side project.
How does that make you feel?
Less tied to any one individual, I think, is the main thing. There's that old saying that man's most persistent cry is freedom. And I think I got a sense of that even as a young kid, that I never wanted to be beholden to one individual for the outcome of my life, both financially and also in terms of the feeling of contribution I was making and the reward I got from that. Having a side project or two always gave me other options, and I felt more in control of my own destiny. And I still feel like that today.
Yeah. You're speaking, and I remember a book I read. The author's name isn't coming to me, but the name of it is Halftime. And
yeah, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, it's a all right. Let's use the tech for what it is. So I'll type this in while I'm speaking. But what he was talking about is that, hey, you've reached half life, which is that 50, right? That 50 and over. And if it's any time to live, it's now, because you now have the value, you've gotten the skills. It's the time to begin earning. And you're speaking, and I'm just hearing that book echo through your voice, because it seems as though that's where you are. Is that accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the first 20 years don't really count for much. I mean, you form most of your personality and your habits and your traits by the time you're about 8 or 9 years old. But in terms of learning how the world works and how you work and how you learn and how you think, I think the first 20 years is just like an apprenticeship, and you don't really start doing anything significant until you're after that. So I figure once you get to 40, you've got a solid bank of experience and knowledge to build on, and you've only really used 20 years of your life, 20 years as an adult. And so if you're going to live till you're 80, well, you've got double the amount of time again to go off and do great things. And a lot of people squander that time. They just start they reminisce about the past and they start thinking about winding down. But hell, once you get to your 40s, now is the time to use what you've learned and what you've experienced and start doing something, remarkable.
Yeah, I love it. And just to reference that book one more time, it's Halftime, and he has Moving from Success to Significance. It's Bob Buford. Really amazing book. I really enjoyed that book. All right, well, Peter, let's switch gears.
I'm gonna find that.
You got it? Beautiful. All right, so amazing audience. We are live with Peter Fritz. He is the podcast host of Midlife Mastery podcast. Do check that out. Peter, let's switch gears for a moment. Now, let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm blue Caribbean water. Peter, what is
Oh, that sounds good.
Peter, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Well, I can remember back to when I was 2. I've got quite a few memories from that age, but the one that stands out is I remember lying in my dad's arms in the lounge room of our little house in Mount Eliza down by the beach. And I remember the smell of his aftershave, Old Spice. And my
Wow.
dad back in those days was very strong. He started working from the age of 14 as a builder, and he built his parents' house when he was 14. So he was always a very strong man. I remember lying there in his huge arms and the smell of Old Spice and feeling protected. I really remember that vividly.
Wow. So why do you think this memory is so clear, Peter?
Well, I think I think it was my earliest experience of feeling loved as a little kid. I had a great childhood. I have fantastic parents, and I think that is my earliest memory of feeling loved and cared for.
Intriguing. Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Hmm.
In the arms of strength, in the arms of confidence, in the arms of the old is the spice of life. The old spice was definitely there. Hey, have you found anything that can replace the smell of old spice? It's really something that they've created, right? Like I remember when my father used to shave and then he would do the dab with the old spice in the curvaceous
Really?
bottle. Right there's the curvaceous. It's the spice of life, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's funny, after all these years, I've never thought to actually go and buy a bottle to keep it here. You just made me think I should do that. I should keep a bottle nearby and have a bit of a whiff every now and again.
Yeah.
He doesn't wear it anymore, but yeah, I still remember that. My mum used to wear 4711,
You see?
so I
Yeah.
remember that as well.
That's great. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
I had to do a bit of research on this because I've been a mad music fan since I was very little because my sister was. And looking at around that period, I think one of my favourite songs is probably Atomic by Blondie.
Love
I remember speed skating around the local roller skating rink in Mornington, down where I grew up, to the sound of Atomic and feeling very motivated. And then sing it in my head when I had my first motorbike when I was 12 and riding around the motocross track, screaming Atomic in my helmet.
it. Love it. All right, my friend. Well, Peter, we have now arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to go pretty quickly here. Peter, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Oh, absolutely. It's my kids.
Are you married? Well, you said this is your third
Yes.
marriage. Yes, you
Yeah, I'm on my third go round. This is my last time.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Yeah. Please, it's your last. What's her name?
Her name is Monica.
Hey,
She's Chinese, so her Chinese name is Ying Ying.
Yinging, please. Last time, right?
Yes, last time. She's brilliant. I love it.
Wonderful. Do you believe in God?
I did, but I don't anymore. I believe in an all-pervasive spiritual force in this universe that has some kind of intelligent impact on things. But I struggle these days with all of the pain and suffering that's out in the world. I struggle to believe in a single deity that will one day get around to fixing things. I struggle with that.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
No, not really. I have friends and I have people whose opinions I value, but honestly, my closest friends and the people I trust most are my family members. So I count them as my inner circle.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day, Peter?
No, I certainly don't.
How about 3 hours a week?
I would probably about 5 hours a week, and that comprises 2 movies, one on Friday night, one on Saturday night. We have no free-to-air TV, no cable TV.
And what about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Unfortunately, it's probably more than 8. I work an average of 12 to 14 hours a day, and almost all of what I do involves a computer screen.
Right. Hey, well, Peter, after having 1,001 conversations in 3 months, I came up with a workbook, the name of it being yours, and it stands for your own unique real self. Connected to that, as you dig deeper, is your own unique real statement, your mission. If you had to share with us, Peter, your own unique real statement, something that represents Peter Fritz, what would you say that is?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think the message that I want to convey most of all, and that I try to convey to my kids, is that it's almost an impossible fluke that you're here. And anything so wondrous and marvelous that is that impossible should be cherished and valued every single day.
totally agree. Hey, Peter, this was a great pleasure, my friend. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Yes, you only get one shot at this life. It's going to be over a lot quicker than you think. Time accelerates as you get older. So one of the biggest mistakes most of us make in my age group is we think we have time, and really we don't. The time to do something remarkable, to live, to really appreciate this brief little blip in history that is you, that time's now.
Peter Fritz, hey, this was a great pleasure one more time. Hey, Peter, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you, Angel. I've enjoyed it immensely.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.